The final curtain, when the show became their last. In the dazzling world of entertainment, where lights shine bright and audiences hold their breath in anticipation, there exists a haunting collection of moments when the line between performance and reality blurred into tragedy. These are the stories of performers who gave their final bow in the most literal sense, their last moments captured in the spotlight they loved so dearly. The Magician's Last Trick. On April 15th, 1984, millions of television viewers settled in for what they thought would be another entertaining episode of live magic. Tommy Cooper, the beloved comedian magician known for his intentionally bumbling acts, stood before the cameras at Her Majesty's Theatre in London. The atmosphere was light, filled with anticipation of his signature blend of magic and mishaps. Then came the moment that would forever haunt British television history. Cooper suddenly clutched his chest and collapsed backward, his tall frame crumpling behind the curtain. The audience laughed. How characteristic of Cooper to incorporate such physical comedy into his routine. The laughter continued, growing louder as seconds ticked by. But behind the curtain, a desperate scene was unfolding. Stage hands scrambled, medical professionals rushed forward, and Jimmy Tarbuck, the show's host, felt his heart sink as he realized this was no act. The cameras kept rolling, broadcasting Cooper's final moments to an unknowing audience who continued to applaud what they thought was merely another masterful performance from the comedian who had made a career of pretending to fail. Death at Sea, the crocodile hunter's final encounter. The crystal waters of Australia's Great Barrier Reef held no warning of the tragedy about to unfold on that fateful September morning in 2006. Steve Irwin, the energetic, khaki-clad wildlife expert who had charmed millions with his enthusiastic crikey and fearless encounters with dangerous animals, was filming a new documentary titled Ocean's Deadliest. The irony of that title would soon become heartbreakingly apparent. Gliding through the water with his film crew, Irwin encountered what seemed to be a relatively harmless creature, an 8-foot-wide stingray. These typically docile animals were nothing new to the experienced wildlife handler. But in a split second, everything changed. The stingray, perhaps feeling cornered, did something unusual. It raised its barbed tail and struck with lightning speed. The barb pierced Irwin's chest, finding his heart with devastating precision. His last words, captured by the cameras still rolling underwater, were heartbreakingly simple. "I'm dying." The footage of these final moments remained sealed away, never to be broadcast, preserving the dignity of a man who lived and died doing what he loved most. The dance that never ended. The stage lights of Philadelphia's Taboo Lounge and sports bar shone brilliantly on September 12, 2022, as Valencia Prime, known affectionately as Philadelphia's plus-size dancing diva, took the stage for her regular showcase prime time. At just 25, she had already become a beacon in the LGBTQ plus performance community, breaking barriers and inspiring others with every step. No one could have known that this particular performance would be her final statement to the world. As she moved across the stage with her characteristic grace and energy, something changed. The music continued, but Valencia suddenly stopped. In a moment that seemed to suspend time itself, she collapsed, leaving an audience frozen between disbelief and dawning horror. The High Wire's final walk. The wind whipped between the towers of the Condado Plaza Hotel in San Juan, Puerto Rico, on March 22, 1978. Karl Wallenda, the 73-year-old patriarch of the famous Flying Wallendas, stood preparing for what would become his final walk. For decades, he had danced with death on a thin wire, creating art from the very essence of human courage. The cable stretched 121 feet between the towers, suspended 10 stories above the unforgiving pavement below. Wallenda began his walk with the same confidence that had carried him through countless similar feats. But fate had other plans. A sudden gust of wind, a moment's imbalance, and the legendary airless fell from his wire, his final performance captured by cameras that had gathered to document what they hoped would be another triumph. The concert that became a requiem. KK, the voice that had given life to countless Bollywood memories, stood on stage at the Nazrul Mancha Auditorium in Kolkata on May 31st, 2022. The air was heavy, both with the summer heat and the energy of thousands of fans who had come to hear their beloved singer perform. None could have known they were about to witness his final song. As he delivered his performance with characteristic passion, those close to the stage noticed something wasn't right. The singer was sweating more than usual, seeming to struggle against an invisible weight. Yet he continued, determined to give his audience everything he had, literally until his last breath. When he finally collapsed, the music stopped, but the echo of his final notes hung in the air like a ghostly reminder of the thin line between performance and mortality. The drummer's final beat. The rhythmic pulse of the cruise ship's entertainment hall throbbed with the energy of classic rock on March 22, 2017. Sib Hashian, the former drummer of the legendary band Boston, sat behind his kit doing what he had done countless times before, driving the beat that kept the music alive. But this night, the music would stop far too soon. Mid-performance, without warning or dramatic flourish, Hashian slumped over his drums. The beat that had kept countless songs alive for decades suddenly fell silent. Despite immediate medical attention, the rhythm of his heart couldn't be restored, and another legend of rock joined the eternal encore. The last laugh. The audience at the University of California, San Diego was in high spirits on April 17, 1987, as Dick Shawn worked his comedy magic on stage. Known for his unpredictable style and physical comedy, no one thought twice when he suddenly laid down on the stage. They laughed, assuming it was part of his routine. Minutes passed. The laughter slowly died. Someone finally checked on the comedian, only to discover that the man who had spent his life making others laugh had taken his final bow without anyone realizing it. His heart had failed him mid-performance, turning a moment of comedy into one of life's darkest ironies. When reality struck the fantasy, the set of The Crow on March 31st, 1993, was like any other day of filming, until it wasn't. Brandon Lee, following in his famous father's footsteps, was filming what should have been a routine scene. The script called for his character to be shot, a moment of movie magic that had been performed countless times in countless films. But something went terribly wrong. When the prop gun fired, Lee fell, not in the choreographed way that had been rehearsed, but in the horrible, final way that separated fiction from reality. A real bullet fragment, lodged in the barrel from a previous scene, had turned movie magic into tragic reality. The son of the legendary Bruce Lee, himself lost too soon, would join his father in becoming another chapter in Hollywood's book of tragic endings. The final note. These stories serve as powerful reminders of the fragility of life and the dedication of performers who quite literally gave everything to their art. They remind us that behind every spotlight, every laugh, every song, and every spectacular feat, there beats a human heart. One that, like all others, must eventually fall silent. Their final performances, whether captured on film or preserved only in the memories of those who witnessed them, stand as testimonies to lives lived in pursuit of their passion, even to the very end. In each case, the show did go on, but it was forever changed by the moment when performance transformed into poignant reality. For these artists, the stage was both their greatest love and their final resting place, a fitting, if tragic, end to lives spent in pursuit of their craft. Their stories continue to resonate, reminding us that every performance could be our last, and every moment in the spotlight is precious. In the end, perhaps that's their greatest performance of all, teaching us to live fully, perform passionately, and never take for granted the ephemeral magic of live entertainment.